Matt, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I enjoy makeup. I have literally no idea what I'm doing. I have never been trained. I like to play, I like to make mistakes, and I like to learn from them and see what happens. Today, I want to do a neutral face for you because that's the palette that I have out, and that's the palette that we're going to be going with. But first, we need to prime. For different people, this means different things. For me, I use this. It's the e.l.f. Stay All Night Micro Fine Setting Mist. Nice. Now we've got that protective layer, we need to do more priming. Skin prep is the most essential thing. Honestly, when I first started, I was like, yeah, I've washed my face with soap and then we can just crack on, and then I'd wonder why everything would just kind of fall away. I've tried quite a few different eyelid primers. This seems to be doing the trick. The Sigma eyeshadow primer. This is the shade Ignite, I think. Either way, if you hear my cat, sorry, I've had to lock him out there because he's very aggressive. Right, I've let the cat in. So this is quite a nice one. Big old extender. And what I found is if you work with this quite quickly, you don't give it a chance to set, and then you get a good coverage on your eyelid. Now they do have loads of different shades in this, so no matter what your skin tone, this is probably going to be a good shout. Okay, that's the base done. What I like to do is go into the corners here, just because I do have some redness in that corner, and just to give my eye bags a little bit of extra help. Just a couple of little dots in there. Notice how I'm sort of pressing and moving the product around instead of wiping it. And we are going to start with the Golden Age palette. This is from Beauty Bay. We're going to go in with the shade Glamour, this guy over here. There's a bit of a transition shade. Right, you will hear these terms thrown all over the interwebs. You're there thinking, yeah, I might give this a go. And then people start using transition shades, primers. It's like, I don't know what that means. Basically, transition shade is the bit that goes in here. And when you've got hooded eyes, this is quite difficult, especially for guys, because you've got quite a pronounced, well, some of us anyway, have quite a pronounced brow bone. So the transition shade helps to go from what you want on your lid to if you want anything further up. Just start with that corner just there, blending it through the socket, nice and gentle. See, I'm holding the brush as well. It's at the end. I'm not going in like that. I don't know why you would. I don't think anybody ever has. Now, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there's a difference from when you're doing this to when you're doing that. So when you're doing this, you can see that shade throughout the socket, but when you do that, there's nothing there. So what I tend to do is bring it just along the brow bone there, and then blend it out from the corner here, making a little wing. Little wingy wing. Don't worry about being too tidy. You will clear this up later. See how, now I've got my eyes closed, you can see that even with the eye shut, you've still got a bit of a shape here and a little bit of shape here. Now, don't worry too much if you think it doesn't actually look like you've got anything on. We will. So now we've got that transition shade in, what I want to do is start to darken the outside corners here. Just adds a little bit of depth. So we're not going to touch the transition shade on the brow bone here. Going to put a little bit of darkness in that corner. And for that, we're going to do Roaring just here. It might not be dark enough. We'll have a look. Sometimes, depending on what you're trying to achieve, you might want to go in with a smaller brush. Cat's gone crazy. You might want to go in with a smaller brush, but we'll try this and see what happens. Now, you don't want a huge amount on the brush. And you're going just from the outside corner in and a little bit through that socket there. But you can see the difference between the two eyes. This one is set that corner a little bit further back. So if we was to go in with something lighter up here, you're going to have even more dimension. And then what you can do, if you want to carry on that little flick, this will completely depend on the shape of your eye. So play, make it horrible, start again. That's how I learned this. So start in that corner, and I want to bring that up into that flick. I say flick. It's more of an almond, really. Again, just a little bit. So you've still got that transition shade on the outside, but you've still got that slightly darker element in the center, the corner of the outside eyeball. And you'll notice that I'm periodically going from big eyes, small eyes, big eyes, small eyes, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you are not going to be going around the office like this. And I must say, Beauty Bay's eyeshadow formulas in particular, I use quite a lot of their skincare as well. But I'll save that for a different video. Really good formulas. Really good. Okay, Peg, I might want to go a little bit darker actually. So just a little bit. So we'll go in with Rush, this guy just here. And what I will do is go into my drawer of many brushes and use a little flat brush like this. Just a little one. This is also quite good for doing under the eyes. And just along that lash line, tuck that in there. Just on that outside corner. Just that extra tiny little bit of darkness there helps bring that out. You want some depth. And again, I cannot tell you how important it is to not be afraid to get this wrong. Honestly, some of the things that I've had to do to get to this point is horrifying. Anybody online who tells you that you just, you pick up a brush, you buy the most expensive makeup palette you can find, and away you go. Liars. Liars, liars, liars. So, face. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in shade 20. Concealer, little at a time. You see all those videos, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, where you've got people just chugging it all over their face. Don't do that, especially under your eyes, because that skin is super thin, super duper crinkly. All right, so we go in, same as before with the primer. Just gonna pat that in. There we go. Don't worry too much about getting it right up to your eye line. If anything, you don't want it to go all the way up to your eye line, because the closer you get, because you're going to be putting product underneath your eye, you're just adding more stuff to a very thin, delicate area of your face. Try not to. It works for some people. It depends how robust you are. We're going to go with the Flawless Concealer brush from e.l.f. Now, when we're looking at affordable tools, affordable products, e.l.f. is a great way to go. Because it's cheap enough to give it a punt. It's cheap enough to experiment. Remember when I said we were going to clear up this area a little bit later on? This is that time. See how that's just tidied that edge? All right up. So I have two different foundation type products. Well, one isn't actual foundation, the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation. This is in shade Bisque. This is quite good if you're going out, but if you're looking for something that you can wear during the day and you don't want to go too sort of heavy and cakey, the Revolution Pro Skin Perfector CC Skin Tint, and it's like less than a tenner, less than £10. You can buy one of these either online, or some of the bigger super drugs do this. Definitely worth a shout. And the good thing is that it comes out clear, but if I take a little bit on my finger here, as you start to rub it, see how that starts to change? And the idea is these little micro pigments in this product start to match the tone of your skin. I apply this with the brush, as you can see. That's because sometimes these little micro pigments need a little bit of friction to get them working. You want to get it moving around. And you see, I'm not using huge amounts. Not using huge amounts at all. And if you've got a little beardy, do try and blend it in as much as you can, especially if it's a bit more stubbly like this. Because if you don't, you're going to have a very, very pale beard if you've got the same skin tone as I do. Now, when you're doing your forehead, and I don't know if this is just me, I found that you've got to relax, especially when you hit my age and you're this, expression-y. If you keep your forehead relaxed, you are going to get into all of those nooks and crannies. And if you're trying to get an extra bit of coverage, if you've got redness on the cheeks, marks on the forehead, any of that, stipple, then blend, because you're pushing that product into the skin, which is very exciting. There we go. Now I don't know if you can see, you've still got a little bit of it still looks like skin. It doesn't look like you've, again, this internet thing of pouring bottles of foundation all over your face, or using the actual droppers or anything like that where it touches the skin. Don't do that, it's gross, stop it. When I was first starting, this is something I didn't even think about. Face, this colour. Neck, completely different shade. And I've got a lot of neck. So you want to try and bring some of this colouring down here just to marry the shades of your face. You see, we've started to bring that colour down. And what I do sometimes is just this bit here. Especially when you're a pasty white man like me. This is the bit that I struggle with. Contour, blush, highlighter, all of that. I still can't quite get this right. I still don't know where blush goes. I'm just putting that out there. Because every time I've tried to do that thing and you put it on the apples of your cheeks, here, I look like Santa. So what I tend to do is the cheekbone here. So we're going to go with the e.l.f. Spiced Apple. This is a blusher and highlighter combo. Not a huge fan of the highlighter, it's a little bit glittery. Now you can use as much or as little as you like. Start small, build it. And what I do is go from the corner here and in. Corner and in. And then we start to buff that out with some circles. Effectively, I'm moving the apple of the cheek from here up to here. And don't worry if you go a little bit too much. Because what you can do is take that same brush that you used for your foundation and go back over it, just very gently, just to try and marry those colours in together. And again, we're going into the hairline. just to make it, I'll try and make it look as natural as possible. The goal, anyway, is that it doesn't look like you've got loads of makeup on. Just a natural, a little bit of a glow. So if you've been running through the fields, that'll do. That'll do. And we're not going to use this highlighter. We're going to use, what we got? Revolution Glass Black Ice Illuminator. It's quite cool. It's quite cool. It's that neutral. It's got more of a shimmer to it than a glitter. You just want to try and see where it catches the light. Just there. You don't want to do a lot, unless you're going for a metallic kind of look, and it just helps catch that light, give you a little bit more dimension. Go back to your blusher brush and just melt the two into each other, because you want a gradual fade from one to the other. And apparently with bronzer, if you used to bronze sort of here up towards that, see that bit there, you want to try and darken that to add a little bit more shape. If you bronze, blush, highlighter, don't do it any other way, because you want to go dark to medium to light. Otherwise, apparently, it doesn't look very good. Well, it might look good. It might look good on you. Give it a go. Give it a go. I like it. Have fun. Right, so let's finish up these eyeballs. Okay, so we are going to go and finish up just underneath the eye here using an e.l.f. smudge brush. See how it's got that? It's so tiny and thin, so it'll help you get right up into that lash line. And we're going to go in with the darkest shade that we had here in this corner, which is Rush. I'm just going to lightly tap and go right in to that lash line. And there we go. Lovely stuff. Bringing it around about halfway up to the pupil. So you've got that line. This is the dark sider. This is the dark side. This is the light. Now we're going to go lighter in the inside corner here, and we're going in with the shade. Going in with the shade Precious. This little guy just here, throwing brushes around. It's going well. It's going well. There we go. Just going to pop that in like that. And sometimes it doesn't work like this. So to try and attempt to rescue this, because you see that's a little bit darker. It's too dark. There's no transition happening in the middle. Same brush. Go across that middle section just gently. Again, look where I'm holding the brush. From the dark to the light. And if you have to go and bring that pigment from one side to the other, go for it. And some people really enjoy like that tired look, so they might go darker further in, or they might blend it further down. It's personal choice. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. Okay, we're going to go in with this. It's the e.l.f. Liquid Glitter Eyeshadow. You can, if you want to, take it straight from the applicator onto your eye. I don't, only because I use a lot of different colours, and I don't want to end up with colours getting onto the applicator for this. So, one thing that I found works really well is a brush like this. I think it's technically a concealer brush, but anything flat and quite dense does work quite well for this. And take your time with this, because this is when things normally go wrong. And at this point, trying to rectify a mistake is quite tricky. Not impossible, but I have lost count of the amount of times that I've got to this point, and it could be, you know, I should really be going to work, and I'll just have to go and wash this entire look off. which is not fair. It's not cute. It's not fair. So take your time, and then once you've got halfway through, and you can take it across the entire lid if you want, just use that brush that you had the eyeshadow on a little bit earlier, blend that through. And one thing you can do is take the sort of darker, not the darkest, but the darker shade, which was Roaring in that palette. Just give that a little tap over there, just so you've got a slightly better transition from one to the other. I shall do the other eye. I'll be right back. There we go. Quite happy with that. Now this is my favourite part, the lips. This is Lime Crime in the shade Riot. Now this, I've found, not only does it smell amazing, it will also stay for the majority of the day. And yes, I can hear you. What is this? All of my lines. It's okay. It's okay. Just take a little bit of extra time. But sometimes you need a little bit of extra assistance. This is where a lip liner comes into play. And I'm probably doing this backwards. I should probably do the lip liner first. But you know, it's 2023. Do what you got to do. This is from Studio London by Superdrug. And it's £3-4, I think. This is in the shade... What is this? What shade are you? Oh, Self-Love Nude. Very exciting. And then, what you can do... Oh, that's my thing, isn't it? I say, oh, what you can do... Okay, see how that has just evened that up. And there we go. The one thing I have found about the Lime Crime, though, it is quite dry. Not much in the way of transfer. And that... Oh, mascara. Okay, cool. Look, done. Pop my little hair down. And that is a nice, solid, neutral work look. So if you like that video, subscribe, I suppose. Like, share, because my mistakes might help you, or tell me about your mistakes. That'd be good. Tell me about your makeup mistakes in the comments. Oh, that's so tedious, isn't it? That in the comments below. Talk to me. I want to be popular. Right. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.